Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avataravareshtaya Ramakrishna te Namah. Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma mridangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Today's topic I have chosen: where to find lasting happiness. We are all undoubtedly seeking happiness in one way or other, starting from waking up in the early morning till going to bed in the night. We all cherish happiness throughout the day. But this happiness is always followed by some kind of unpleasantness. Some kind of dissatisfaction. That is, man is seeking happiness in so many ways through his senses in the outer world. But this happiness is not lasting. It is always followed by some kind of pain afterwards. But then, where exactly one can find lasting happiness? It is not pursuing outside, but you can get it when you direct your effort towards pursuing inner. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the small couch in his room. Rakhal, M. and several other devotees were present. A special worship of Kali had been performed in the temple the previous night. In connection with the worship, a theatrical performance of the Vidyasundar had been staged in the Nat Mandir. The master had watched a part of it that morning. The actors came to his room to pay him their respects. Sri Ramakrishna, in a happy mood, became engaged in conversation with a fair complexioned young man who had taken the part of Vidya and played his role very well. So Sri Ramakrishna was appreciating him. He said, "Your acting was excellent. If a person excels in singing, music, dancing, or any other art, he can also quickly realize God, provided he strives sincerely. Just as you practice much in order to sing, dance, and play on instruments, so one should practice the art of fixing the mind on God. One should practice regularly such disciplines as worship, jap, and meditation." Then Sri Ramakrishna asked a question, "Are you married? Any children?" The actor said, "Yes, sir. I had a girl who died. Another child has been born." Sri Ramakrishna said, "Oh, a death and a birth, and all so quickly. You are so young." There's a saying, "My husband died just after our marriage. There are so many nights for me to weep." You are no doubt realizing the nature of worldly happiness. Sri Ramakrishna compares it to a hog plum. The hog plum has only pit and skin, and after eating it you suffer from colic. That's the nature of worldly happiness. Again Sri Ramakrishna said, the whole thing in a nutshell is that one must develop ecstatic love for Sachidananda. What kind of love? How should one love God? Gauri used to say that one must become like Sita to understand Rama, like Bhagavati, the Divine Mother, to understand Bhagavan Shiva. One must practice austerity as Bhagavati did in order to attain Shiva. One must cultivate the attitude of Prakriti in order to realize Purush, the attitude of a friend. One must cultivate the attitude of Prakriti in order to realize Purush, the attitude of a friend, a handmaid, or a mother. I saw Sita in a vision. I found that her entire mind was concentrated on Sri Rama. She was totally indifferent to everything. Her hands, her feet, her clothes, her jewels. It seemed that Rama had filled every bit of her life and she could not remain alive without Rama. M said, "Yes, sir." She was mad with love for Rama. Sri Ramakrishna said, "Mad. That's the word. One must become mad with love in order to realize God. But that love is not possible if the mind dwells on lust and gold. Sex life with a woman. What happiness is there in that? The realization of God gives 10 million more happiness. The realization of God gives 10 million times more happiness. Gauri used to say that when a man attains ecstatic love of God, all the pores of the skin, even the roots of the hair, become like so many sexual organs. And in every pore the aspirant enjoys the happiness of communion with the Atman. So, one gets true happiness in the realization of Atman. One must call on God with a longing heart. One must learn from the Guru how God can be realized. Only if the Guru himself has attained perfect knowledge can he show the way. Sri Ramakrishna again said, one must have for God the yearning of a child. The child sees nothing but confusion when his mother is away. You may try to cajole him by putting a sweetmeat in his hand, but he will not be fooled. He only says, no, I want to go to my mother. One must feel such yearning for God. Oh, what yearning! How restless a child feels for his mother. Nothing can make him forget his mother. He to whom the enjoyment of worldly happiness appears tasteless, he who takes no delight in anything of the world, money, creature, comforts, sense pleasure, becomes sincerely grief-stricken for the vision of the mother. And to him alone, the mother comes running, leaving all her other duties. Man remains subject to happiness and misery as long as he is bound by karma. This is a lot of every man, no matter whether he is learned or ignorant, good or wicked. When a man is free from this egoism, surrendering his life, his mind and his intellect at the blessed feet of the Lord of all, renouncing all that he calls his own, then is he blessed indeed. That man alone finds true happiness, lasting happiness. If you work with the idea of pleasing men, you will be disappointed. You will find peace and happiness only if you can remember the Lord. If God is pleased, the world is pleased. Make God the be-all and end-all of your life. Devote yourself sincerely to realizing Him, and you will be free from all sorrow and pain. You will inherit eternal happiness. No matter what riches you may possess, no matter what prospects you may have for living a happy and prosperous life, you still will not find lasting happiness in this world. Pain follows pleasure, and every action brings its own reaction. Nothing lasts but the true happiness which is to be found in God. There only you have the fulfillment of the true happiness. You can't live a continent life unless you devote yourself to God. And without continence, realization of God is impossible. Unless you realize God, you will not find happiness. And without happiness, life is vain. Everyone is seeking happiness, no doubt. No one wants misery. Yet, the deluded man ignores God, the source of all happiness, and runs after the worthless toys of life. If you really want happiness, throw away these toys and yearn for God. He will run to you and take you in His arms. Seek the toys of life and you will find them. Seek God and you will find Him. So it depends upon what you seek. Just as after deep sleep a man feels refreshed in body and mind, so will you feel refreshed after meditation, and there will follow an intense experience of happiness. But alas, man runs after objects of enjoyment and degrades himself to the level of the brute. If If you want to make this human life worth living, take refuge in God. Give up the false happiness and seek eternal happiness. When we shall give up worldly enjoyments and pause our days thinking of God and contemplating Him, then only shall we make our human lives blessed and inherit true happiness. Struggling is very essential. Whoever struggles in a proper way will surely succeed. For him is happiness in store. It's enough if the mind gets merged in Him, even once only. Then the mind can no longer derive any happiness from things outside. I tell you, my son, Swami Chidananda said, there is no happiness in lust and lucre, whatever others may say. There is no happiness in lust and lucre. There is not a bit of it, none at all. No matter where you are, in heaven or elsewhere, and whether you are a man of learning or anything else. True happiness lies in that infinite reality. That alone should one know. Happiness of this sort, the comforts and amenities of life which technology can bring, is short-lived. It is not worthwhile. People over there are infatuated by the evanescent pleasures of this world because they have not tasted the bliss of divine communion. My children, whatever you may say, there is no joy in lust and gold, here or in heaven, whether you are scholarly or otherwise. This is the word. This is the word of God. The Chandogya Upanishad also states, that which is infinite is bliss. There is no joy in the finite. The infinite alone is blissful. Inquire about the infinite. True happiness is in the absolute. One must know that. Science has failed to fathom it. Science is concerned with matter phenomena. The desire to enjoy grows from day to day. If one is engrossed in material things, they cannot bring satisfaction and peace. So, the man seeking happiness in the world is always under constant stress and strain. The seed of unrest is embedded in enjoyment of this kind. If you can, love others, and then you will be blessed with peace and happiness. Deep down within his heart, man knows full well that there is no lasting happiness to be found in the mad pursuit of worldly enjoyments. And yet, like the camel who chews thorny bushes, even while his mouth bleeds, so man still stirs up his lust for enjoyment, even while he suffers. One finds no peace without devotion to God. Material wealth does not make a man happy or peaceful. We must make all the people on earth our very own. Let none be a stranger or an outsider. If there must be an outsider, it should be this I, me and mine. This me and mine is the greatest enemy. We must crush this enemy. We must kill all selfishness. Then only will the whole world become our own. Then only will we see this world as belonging to God. Then alone will there be peace and happiness on earth. Why there is no happiness in that which is finite? Because that which is finite is perishable. That which is universal is blissfulness itself. Do you know why people want money, property, wife and children? because they think they will get physical and mental happiness from them. So they are ready to work day and night for them. If they would divert that energy toward God, they could get the permanent, genuine bliss of Satchidananda instead of the happiness of the world. If you want happiness in this world, think of yourself as pure gold and not as gold-plated. Chant the name of the Lord every morning, first bathe and put on a clean cloth, and then sit in the corner of a room or in a solitary place and think of God. Then you will find happiness in this life. You will have the taste of true happiness. God is infinite bliss, and all other happiness is finite and perishable. Hence, nowhere but in God can true happiness be found, a happiness that has no break. At present, no one really worships the Divine Mother. We are all worshipping the little mothers of this world and have forgotten the Divine Mother. We all want these little finite pleasures and do not care for that infinite pleasure. We are like the bird hopping about on the tree, while the other bird sits calm, serene and motionless. The tree is full of luscious fruits, and the bird, seeing an especially tempting one, thinks, "Oh, if I could only taste that one." So he goes near, and even though he may have to thrust his head through thorns, he takes a bite. But alas, the fruit is bitter. So he tries 20 or 30 and finds them all bitter. He is just about to give up. When he happens to taste one that is sweet, he tries to give up all other things. This gives him new expectation, and he starts again to look for another sweet fruit. After tasting 10 or 12 more bitter ones, he gives up and joins the other bird on the top of the tree. So we try to find our happiness in wealth, in the little mothers of this world, in power, in name and fame. But when we discover their bitter taste, we turn to God and worship Him. Blessed is the man who has faith. He is the happiest of men because he is free from all anxiety. God is infinite bliss, and all other happiness is finite and perishable. Hence nowhere but in God can true happiness be found, a happiness that has no break. You will be the happiest man in the whole universe. You will be like a little child. The father and mother are slaves to the baby. It may go anywhere without any feeling of care or responsibility, but they must always take care of it, the parents. So, if you can become the baby of God, you may be happier than even God Himself. The aim of the scriptures is to teach people how to develop the spirit of renunciation in married life. Through worldly experience, with its joys and sorrows, they will come to know the value of detachment, without which no happiness is born. Happiness and unhappiness both come to us through divine will for our education. One thing we have to learn is that we are to cling to Him for support and remain unperturbed in the midst of all circumstances. If we view life from another angle, we will notice that it is unhappiness that teaches more than happiness. It is misery that cleanses our hearts more than enjoyment. Discriminate. There is no real happiness in life, as misery follows happiness. Life after life, this oscillation between this pair of opposites is continuing. No more of this. Now start on the search for unalloyed happiness. Seek that happiness which is not adulterated. People are so accustomed to adulterated food that they have forgotten the taste of really good food. Further, they have lost the power to digest it. Nowadays, If someone gets adulterated food at a cheap price, he will not want pure food. He will go for the cheap food. The master used to say, the world is a bad place, and he should renounce it. There is no argument behind it, because he knew that no one can get over his unhappiness without renouncing the world. Once it is realized that a thing is bad, the best thing is to discard it. There is no question of arguing about it. Our worldly pleasures are but a speck of dust when weighed against that great mountain of joy. No earthly pleasures can have any attraction for us when we have once tasted of that happiness. Sri Ramakrishna, after his 12 years of tapas, when he got the vision of the Divine Mother, he became ecstatic and unparalleled happiness he experienced. A woman whose only child had died, distraught with grief, went to Lord Buddha and pleaded to restore her child back to life, because she thought Buddha was a great yogi. He can bring life to the dead child. Buddha did not disappoint her. He at once agreed. Very good. One thing you have to do. Bring me a handful of sesame seeds from any house where there has been no death, and I shall restore the child back to life. He promised. The lady searched the entire city, every home, only to learn that there does not exist a single house where there has been no death. Realization about inevitability of death dawned on her. Realization about inevitability of death dawned in her, and she became one of Lord Buddha's disciples. Similarly, all the wisdom and learning has not taught human beings how not to be unhappy. Just look around. Can you find a genuinely happy person, fearless, free from insecurities, anxieties, tensions and worries? We are unhappy because we go about soaked in some of our beliefs. We feel that we can't be happy without the things we are attached to and which we consider to be precious. We are unhappy because we focus on what we do not have rather than what we do have right now. We believe that happiness is something that will envelop us in the future. Also, our false beliefs and distorted perceptions have got us caught up in fears, anxieties, attachments, conflicts, guilt, and a host of other feelings that grip us because we have programmed ourselves that way. Some believe that happiness will come when they manage to change the situation they are in and the people around them. They go about and try to build an attractive body, or change their residence or job or community or lifestyle or even their personality. They do not realize that the finest look and the most charming personality and the most pleasant of surroundings are not enough to make a person happy. What then is happiness? Very few people know. This is because happiness cannot be described. How do you describe light to people who have been sitting in darkness all their lives? How do you describe reality to a person in a dream? When we understand the darkness that envelops our mind, it will vanish in an instant. Then we will know what light is. When we understand our false beliefs, they will drop, and we will know then the taste of happiness. Father, mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, all that we possess, our life as it is now, every single thing that we cling to have all convinced us that we cannot be happy without them. Do not and you need not give them up. Simply do not allow them to disturb your composure. We must realize that all those whom we love most, from our parents and wards and siblings, our society, our religion, our past experiences, have conditioned our minds. No matter how old we are, wherever we go, our mind goes with us and is active and operating at each conscious moment of the day, imperiously insisting that its demands be met by life, by people and ourselves. When these demands of the mind are not met, the mind generates negative emotions that cause us to suffer. When things are not under our control or the future is uncertain, our mind insists that we experience anxiety, tension and worry. Then we expend a lot of energy coping with these negative emotions. And we generally spend more energy trying to rearrange the world around us so that the expectations of our mind can be met. When some expectations are indeed met, then we experience a measure of peace which would melt away the instant, even when something trifle goes wrong. When you understand this, stop your mind from generating negative emotions. Only when you do this you can realize that real oppression comes not from people but from your mind, conditioned as it is, that destroys your peace the moment the outside circumstances fail to conform to its demands. We as individuals are also a part of this changing universe. Our bodies are constantly undergoing change, while our minds, formed of thoughts and feelings, are also in a state of flux. According to Vedanta, however, our self consists of more than mind and body. At its core lies the unchanging Atman, our innermost transcendental self, as opposed to the material self, our body, thoughts and feelings. That is part of the universe. The Atman is our true self. But we lose sight of it because of our passionate involvement with our material self and its search for happiness in this universe. The universe can never provide perfect and permanent happiness, however, because it, like our material self, is in a state of constant flux. We attain true happiness only through an awareness of our Atman and the discovery of its true relationship with Brahman. By achieving awareness of our Atman and its unity with Brahman, we attain not only happiness but also liberation. Liberation from what? At one level, the liberation is from unhappiness. But the answer provided by Vedanta goes deeper. Moksha is liberation from a chain of lives, samsara. Samsara is a chain of lives. We normally think ourselves as coming into being when we are born of our parents and as perishing when we die. According to Hinduism, however, this current life is merely one link in a chain of lives that extends far into the past and projects far into the future. The point of origin of this chain cannot be determined. The process of our involvement in the universe, the chain of births and deaths, is called samsara. Samsara is caused by a lack of knowledge of our true self and our resultant desire for fulfillment outside ourselves. We continue to embody ourselves or be reborn in this infinite and eternal universe as a result of these unfulfilled desires. The chain of births, let us assume the pursuit. The law that governs samsara is called karma. Each birth and death we undergo is determined by the balance sheet of our karma. That is, in accordance with the actions performed and the dispositions acquired in the past. Karma is a crucial Hindu concept. According to the doctrine of karma, our present condition in life is the consequence of the actions of our previous lives. The choices we have made in the past directly affect our condition in this life, and the choices we make today and thereafter will have consequences for our future lives in samsara. An understanding of this interconnection, according to Hindu teachings, can lead an individual to right choices, deeds, thoughts, and desires without the need for an external set of commandments. The principle of karma provides the basic framework for Hindu ethics. The word karma is sometimes translated into English as destiny, but karma does not imply the absence of free will or freedom of action that destiny does. Under the doctrine of karma, the ability to make choices remains with the individual. We are subject to the law of karma, just as our physical movements on earth are subject to the law of gravitation. But just as the law of gravitation does not take away our freedom to move about, the doctrine of karma does not leave us unfree to act. It merely describes the moral law under which we function, just as the law of gravitation is a physical law governing our being. When we cause pain or injury, we add to the karmic debt we carry into our future lives. When we give to others in a genuine way, we lighten our karmic load. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that the best way to be free of debt is by selfless action, or by dedicating every action as an offering to Lord Himself. In addition, human beings can purify themselves of karmic debt through different disciplines, yogas, kriyas, purification processes, and devotions. So only through spiritual pursuit, living a spiritual life, one can find lasting happiness in the realization of the Atman, which is the part and parcel of the Paramatman. Page 973. Master said together, "You had better go downstairs and explain it all to Surendra. See that they don't get into any hot arguments." Yam was fanning Sri Ramakrishna. The master said to him, "Won't you eat anything?" He sent Yam downstairs. It was about dusk. Girish and Yam were strolling near the small reservoir in the garden. Girish said, "I understand that you are writing something about the master. Is it true?" After Sri Ramakrishna's death, Yam published his notes of conversations with the master in 5 volumes. The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is an English translation of these books from the original Bengali. Yam said, "Who told you that?" Girish said, "I have heard about it. Will you give it to me?" Yam said, "No, I won't part with it unless I feel it is right to do so. I am writing it for myself, not for others." Girish said, "What do you mean?" Yam, "You may get it when I die." It was evening. A lamp was lighted in the master's room. Amrit Babu, a Brahmo devotee, came in. Sri Ramakrishna had expressed his eagerness to see him. Yam and a few other devotees were there. A garland of jasmine lay in front of the master on a plantain leaf. There was perfect silence in the room. A great yogi seemed to be silently communing with God. Every now and then the master lifted the garland a little, as if he wanted to put it around his neck. Amrita said tenderly, "Shall I put it around your neck?" Sri Ramakrishna accepted the garland. He had a long conversation with Amrit. When the latter was about to take his leave, the master said, "Come again." Amrita answered, "Yes, sir, I like to come very much, but I live at a great distance, so I cannot always come. Master, do come and take the carriage hire from here. The devotees were amazed at the master's tender love for Amrit. The next day, M came to the garden house, accompanied by his wife and a son. The boy was 7 years old. It was at the master's request that he brought his wife, who was almost mad with grief owing to the death of one of her sons. That day the master several times allowed M's wife the privilege of waiting on him. Her welfare seemed to occupy his attention a great deal. In the evening, the Holy Mother came to the master's room to feed him. M's wife accompanied her with a lamp. The master tenderly asked her many questions about her household. He requested her to come again to the garden house and spend a few days with the Holy Mother, not forgetting to ask her to bring her baby daughter. When the master had finished his meal, M's wife removed the plates. He chatted with her a few minutes. About 9 o'clock in the evening, Sri Ramakrishna was seated in his room with the devotees. He had a garland of flowers around his neck. He told M that he had requested his wife to spend a few days at the garden house with the Holy Mother. His kindness touched M's heart. M was fanning him. The master took the garland from his neck and said something to himself. Then, in a very benign mood, he gave the garland to M. We shall stop here. Next we shall start the next chapter, chapter 52, after the passing away. That is the chapter. Some announcements. Shivaratri evening, 6:30 p.m. Bhajans, brief talk, special worship. We are celebrating Sri Ramakrishna's birthday on Saturday, March 4th. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust, raging furiously within. O name, streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself, O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that both for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is periscendence, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass, be patient and forbearing like a tree, take no honor to thyself, give honor to all, chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame, as many times as I may be reborn. Grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns with his desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the free make others free. May good benefit all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, he being satisfied. The whole universe feels satisfied.